Hello there, Seraphim17 once again. This is my DevilNeverCry 5, Dante Must Die difficulty, S-rank walkthrough. This is mission 12, it's called Yamato, and this is a really interesting mission. This is probably one of the longest missions in the game, and it can be very difficult to get the S-rank on this, because much like mission 10, this is another one of those levels where you play really, really well, and then your style points will be shit, and there doesn't seem to be any correlation as to why. It seems very strange, and I don't understand it much. I can pleasantly report I got this on my second attempt. And I'm going to be using a strategy against the boss that a guy called Surefire Tactics suggested was pretty effective, and it turned out to be really effective. Because it's simple, it's easy to do, and it enables you to get rid of him pretty quickly. But the reason why this level is so unique is that you can skip most of it. And because the S-ranks are difficult due to the fights, what I've done here is I've used a sequence break to get to an area that you're meant to go a different way to get. But thanks to the platforming in this game, I was able to do it. And when you do this, you completely avoid a double Fury fight, which I know a lot of people have problems with. I personally don't have problems with the fight. The only problem I have with the double Fury fight is that it fucks your rank because you can't do anything against them that is good enough to compete with a fight such as this one. So we're going to only really do 2 fights after this one. This one is the first mandatory fight, then we're going to fight a Queen and Pucer. That's where we're going to get the majority of our style because that creature's fantastic. One of the things I think I'm going to start doing with her, to be specific, is I think I'm going to wait for the Impuser to Devil Trigger before I fight her, just so I can beat her up for longer and get more points, because she's such a willing target to receive my stylish goodness all down her face, and I feel like it's the best opportunity to just mix everything up with the least risk. Because if she grabs you, you can Devil Trigger and get out of it, and if you Devil Triggered when she does grab you, I don't know what you would do then, but hopefully you don't do that. I guess it's never happened. The second fight we have to do, I can't quite remember what it is, but I think there's 2 fights. So we'll see what that's about. And then there is a boss fight against Urizen, and Urizen is interesting because the fight itself is identical to the other time we did it. The only difference is now we are playing as Dante, and Dante has access to SDT, which enables him to do incredible damage once you get your Devil Trigger. And it turns out when you stand close to Urizen, he only has a few moves that he can do. If he does his wonderful tentacle attacks where he tries to slap you, you can dodge them. And if he does the wonderful Arkham-inspired Serpent of Doom, you can just move away from it, jump towards it, move away from it, jump towards it. And it just becomes a bit of an endurance fight because his HP is ludicrously long. And it's ludicrously long because of the crystal, which I've touched on in an earlier video, but I didn't really have a chance to talk about it too much. I disagree with how the crystal works, personally. If you don't know, and you've just stumbled on this video and you think this game looks fun, Urizen is protected by this crystal that you have to beat up. The crystal has more HP than some of the bosses in this game, it's so ridiculously durable. Once you break it, you can then actually attack the boss and do damage to his HP. However, after you do a certain amount of damage, and it's not a lot, he gets the crystal back. There is no summoning for the crystal, there's no animation that takes a long time so you can do tons of damage to him and interrupt him so that he doesn't actually recast it. There's nothing fair in it at all. He simply gets an incredibly spongy, hard to destroy protective barrier back just because. And this can happen 3 to 5 times in that fight depending on how good you are at doing damage. And by the end of it, you've killed the boss 4 times over, but most of that damage was spent breaking an arbitrary shield to get to him. And here's my line of reasoning here, guys, because you might be sitting thinking, this guy really doesn't like this boss and it doesn't seem warranted to me. Well, here's my reasoning. If he had a modest life bar, I wouldn't mind the crystal being so tanky. Have the crystal be incredibly difficult to break, but when you break it, you do chunks of damage to the boss. You make every hit feel like you are killing him and stabbing him and hitting his weak point. That's one way to fix it. And then when the crystal comes back, you embrace it, you break it, and then you kill the boss. And it feels good, it feels satisfying, it feels fun. And that's one of the areas where this game really seems to misunderstand that in my estimation of design. You might disagree, that's fine. The second area would be the reverse of this. Have it so that the crystal is durable, but make it so that it doesn't take forever to break. Have it so that you break the crystal after you do a certain amount of damage to it, or a certain amount of hits. It could have been like 3 hits. Oh, by the way, guys, this is the sequence break. All you need to do is double jump towards that ledge, and then press R1 backwards and attack with the motorcycle, and you will levitate as you saw me doing. And then when you're at the height that you need to be, if you dash forward with Trickster, you'll land on the platform. And then we can get into this enemy spawning Pyrobat sequence. But as I was saying, you could make it so that the crystal goes down very quickly. You could make it so that maybe the crystal is a bit more evasive, but if you do hit it, it breaks quickly. And then the boss can have a decent amount of HP. I think there are several ways to make the fight more interesting and to make the fight better. They could have made it so whenever Urizen uses that projectile where he fires the meteor, if you reflect that, it breaks the crystal instantly. That meteor could be the crystal's great weakness, and then it would just flow so much better. They could have done a lot of things like that, you know? I just wish they did. I feel like it's such an oversight of a boss, and traditionally you'd only fight it once and then you wouldn't ever see it again and it wouldn't matter. But in this game, you fight that boss repeatedly. You fight that boss more than you fight any other boss. And Devil May Cry 1 did this. Devil May Cry had usually around 3 encounters with each of the bosses, but the encounters were subtly different, and they mixed it up with environments and additional attacks and different forms. And in the first game, it felt elegant, it felt beautiful. They were some of the best bosses I've ever fought, because they were so good for their time. This game, Urizen is not fun to fight. He's just a dude who sits in a chair spamming projectiles. I don't know, man. I find it so difficult to justify his existence. And the irony is that Virgil is so fun to fight, but Urizen's not. So the final boss is easy because he fucking works right. Even though he can Devil Trigger for a long time, which is crazy. But still, like, Virgil is meant to be the ultimate challenge, the ultimate gatekeeper to the final parts of the game, right? And he isn't. He's easily the most consistent and most fun boss to fight, because once you understand what he does, he works. And he's not boring. There's no moment where you have to arbitrarily whoop a fucking crystal's ass to do damage. As I say, the only time with Virgil where he gets a little trolley is when he stays in Devil Trigger for 45 minutes, starts reading the weather forecast. Like, that's annoying, but fundamentally, he's really exciting to fight because he's so active and it's so intricate and it's so dynamic and it's so much fun. But it ends up being really easy because you don't have to do some arbitrary bullshit to get by. Oh, by the way, guys, this room in here is another mandatory fight. So there might be more than 2 fights. There's probably more than 2 fights. I misspoke earlier. Sorry about that. As I mentioned, this was my second time trying to route this level, and I went a completely different way I'd never been, so this is kind of new to me. I don't even think I've ever done this fight. But we will prevail. We will push through. But you might be wondering, well, Chris, which bosses do you like then if you find all these other ones so trite and so miserable? I personally think the bosses in this game are the weakest part of it by a large margin. But I do really like Malphus. I think that boss is really interesting, even though it's going to beat me up a bit in my walkthrough. I love the Cavalier Angelo guy. I think he's really fun and really interesting. He's a little bit exploitable, which makes him suffer in long term, but it just makes him really fun and really creative, so you can do a lot of fun things with. And he looks fantastic too, which I think is definitely helpful. And then of course I really like Virgil, but Virgil is kind of just a copy-paste with a couple of different rules of his Devil May Cry 3 incarnation, and I think Virgil in Devil May Cry 3 is a wonderfully elegant and challenging boss that I like a lot. I grew to really be fond of, even though it's kind of lowest case denominator, isn't it? It's kind of easy. This was weird. Right now, I couldn't lock onto him. Do you notice how I'm playing like a strange person? I could not for the life of me lock onto that monster, and I was trying to do locked-on skills. But there's something I need to talk about which I haven't mentioned before we get too much further in this video. Do you notice how my style says 4,800, which is really bad? The style on this level is quite difficult, but there's a lot of fights, and Doing all those fights will probably enable you to increase your average if you do them really well. However, because Urizen is so tanky and the fight coming up is so long, you have the opportunity to style on this guy like a phenom. All you need to do is make sure that you turn your style average to above 5,000 and don't die. If you do that, you'll nail the S-rank. I'm not going to be doing a fancy and stylish and selective and diverse ensemble of fighting against this boss. I'm going full efficiency, like I did with the previous one, to give you a strategy that works. And my strategy is mad simple. I'm going to use Balrog to jab him until he does a move. He's going to do a move, I'm going to dodge it, and then I'm going to hit him with real impact. I'm going to Devil Trigger before it to do maximum damage, and then when he's stunned, I'm going to do real impact 3 times to him. If I do not do real impact and I do anything else, it's because my controller fucked me and I was in Trickster by accident. On top of that, the only add-on I'm going to be doing is swapping to Trickster to do some certain dodges and swapping to Royal Guard to stop being pushed back. That's it. That's all I'm going to do, guys. And then every so often I'm going to turn into this particular mode, which I really don't like because I think it controls like shit, and then I'm going to do as much damage as I can. So just beat up on the boss, break his crystal, try and finish with a judgment if you can, I think it's called, and then we begin to dodge the boss. For his spin like that, I like to jump, transition into Trickster, and do a Trickster air dash. He's doing it again right here. You can get out of the range of it if you want to, it's up to you, and then you can trick back towards him, and I'm not following my advice. Here's the Snake of Doom. This is the most awkward move to dodge, because it's very dynamic and it starts from a different perspective every time. You're never sure which way it's coming from, and just then I get hit by it. That's the only thing that's really going to be a problem. You have to watch for it, jump towards it, wait for it, jump back towards it. And then I should start jabbing his leg. Come on, Chris, jab his leg. Here we go. There's the stun. Real impact. No Devil Trigger though. That was bad. Still did great damage though. There he goes again with the whip. Another thing to bear in mind, guys, at the end of the real impact, if you use the Rose, the aerial taunt, you will be able to get a nice style inflection. And here is the Royal Guard that I'm hopefully going to hit, and I don't. Lol. That's the move that I'm going to try and Royal Guard, though. Because if you Royal Guard it, it doesn't push you away. There was his sweep. I thought he was doing the Serpent. I got hit. Not the cleanest fight here, guys, but I'll get you through. There's the Serpent again, right? No, that's a different move. That's the sweep. Back up and jump. There's him summoning the crystal. Time to hit the crystal. There's the... Here we go. Can we get it? There it was. So if you Royal Guard that, you will not get pushed back. Jump away. There we go. Get out of the way of that. When I'm in Devil Trigger, I can do more Trickster dodges. Really, really effective. Another real impact. Here's the big ground slam. This is my favourite move because it's the one that I dodge the most consistently. And you can just stay in there and hit the crystal. And I think the crystal has a damage response, because you'll notice it never counters me because I'm only jabbing it, and then when I do hit it properly, I'm hitting it with the real impact. But if you wail on this with all the different moves, it will eventually start counter-attacking. Here we go, Royal Guard. Boom, there we go. Stay in the pocket, hit the crystal. He's doing the big overhead. Jab, 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 jump. And then jab, 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 real impact. Get your shit back, try and hit him with it. Here we go. Goes the crystal, and the rest of the real impact doesn't hit anything. That was kind. He's doing his get off me move. Really, really, really predictable and easy to punish. Here's his big spin, jump Trickster, and I jumped wrong, or jumped early potentially. Maybe I jumped into the hitbox and recovered inside of it. Don't do that, guys. It was a mistake. I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to just Royal Guard that move with a bit more practice, because this is only the second time I fought this boss. Here we go. Keep on jabbing. Real impact. Big damage. Jump over this. Hit him with a Rose. Always nice. There's him summoning the crystal. Look how fast that animation is. And there's his Devil Trigger. Can we Royal Guard? We can. Sick. Back into real impact. And here's the Snake of Doom. Oh no, that was a laser, sorry. Best thing to do when he goes into his phase 1 moves is to move behind him. If you move behind him, he generally doesn't have anything for you. He has to turn around. And all his other bullshit will be in front of you. Why they allowed him to summon this lock-on, whoring piece of shit snake serpent leg thing is just beyond me. It's so pointless. All it does is fuck your lock-on. That's it. Boom, Royal Guard. And it actually counterattacked, did you see? The crystal counterattacked me, and then I missed because he backstepped. Even this fucking boss with 9 trillion HP's got a backstep. And there's me trying to get back to Swordmaster, but I'm on Trickster. Here we go, big spin move. There's the dodge, how you're supposed to do it, rather than that time when I got hit. And he's doing the get away from me leg tickle. And then the stupid snake thing is too close. The Cell's tail's having a go at me, thinking I'm Android 17. Here we go. What can we do? Rail impact. Boom. Big hit. Then he's summoning the ground bullshit. Make sure you get away from that. There's the tickle of the old ankle. The shin slapper. And then here we go with the... Is it the big spin? Yeah, the big spin. Even get style for dodging it like that, which is nice. Interesting. Completely missed because he backsteps. You back skating bitch. Spin move. Oh no, overhead. And it hits me. That was unfortunate. Bad dodge by me. Then he's going to try and push me away. Can we Royal Guard it? We can! Sick. And here he goes. Snake of Doom. Snake of... Oh no, not Snake of Doom. Why does it always look like Snake of Doom? Anyway, overhead. Jump it. Keep on jabbing, get those real impacts. Straight into the shin. Look at the damage we're not doing now because of fucking Devil Trigger. Jesus Christ. Did this guy need this defense? He already has more HP than he could ever want. Like, if this dude's fucking HP was a Pokemon card, he would be a first edition Charizard, dude. I don't even know if that's a rare one, but it feels like it is. Here we go. Jab his ankle. I did mention, though, guys, this is about as basic a strategy as it gets. And if you stun him, you can usually do good stuff, but he gets really hard to stun. Especially when his DT's going. That's me struggling with my analog. Not analog, sorry, with my D-pad. Is this the snake? That's the snake. And then the snake hits me because I thought he was doing the spin. That snake or the spin? That's the spin. They have a very similar startup, don't they? Dirty bastard with his similar looking move. Getting close now, though. Oh, we got him. There you go. And it's that easy. Just whoop his ass for 10 minutes. And you'll get your S-rank, guys. I'm so happy that I got that quickly. It could have been much cleaner. It will be the next time you watch it, and I look forward to sharing it. But thank you for watching, and you take care now.